6 sailing catamaran, which I bought in Cape Town in October 2015. She was sailed here arriving in Watamu in November of 2017. And I've been sailing her up and down the coast of East Africa since then. We have competed in a number of yacht races around Zanzibar. In fact, we leave November 20th for the next yacht race around Zanzibar, the Dartanga Yacht Race, which is the oldest and longest yacht race in East Africa. In about 2 weeks' time, we'll be sailing up to Lamu for a week. And we regularly sail, though, here in Watamu, you know, in the low season or in the Kusi season. We're sailing here in beautiful Mita Creek. And in a week or two, once the Kaskazi arrives, we'll start shifting to Ocean Sports Resort, where we'll be sailing in the ocean for the next 6 months. You asked about my profession. I've been a lawyer for over 40 years. Now I specialize, I'm an international legal consultant. I work for the World Bank, I work for Asian Development Bank, African Development Bank. Mostly I work in legislative drafting. So I've written over 150 laws around the world, probably 100 of them in Africa alone. Currently I'm assisting laws in the Solomon Islands, in the Pacific Ocean, as well as in Mongolia. So, what was the next question?
Why did you choose to sponsor?
Why did I choose to sponsor? Well, as my crew knows, and those who sail with me know, I'm a big proponent of sponsoring and encouraging sailing, introducing the sport of sailing to people, particularly Africans, because it's perceived as a Mzungu sport, and it shouldn't be. Right? Actually, some of the best sailors in the world is a team from South Africa. They're Africans. They're Kwasa. And they won bronze in the Olympics a few years ago. So I believe that, you know, it's not the preserve of Wazungu, that everyone should be able to enjoy this. I mean, look at where we are. I mean, look at the beautiful spot where I chose to anchor right over here, you know. And in fact, I was just talking to my deckhand now, saying next time we sleep overnight on the yacht, that we'll come over here. So why did I choose? I had an opportunity to share this with 10 or 12 different ladies who've never been sailing before, except Julie, who has worked for us previously as our hostess on board. And I was surprised to see her again. Also, I've known Noni. Noni was a good friend of my late wife, Cassandra, and I've known Noni for 12 years or more, so a long time. So when I was asked by Noni, can you take the girls sailing? She says, absolutely. So, gender-based violence. Violence of any type, whether it's gender-based or not, is strictly unthinkable. There is no excuse for violence. All right, particularly the weaker sex, as well, if you can call it that still. There's just no excuse. Absolutely no excuse. Yes, you can disagree, but does it involve violence? No. And as you know, the legal definition of an assault is the slightest touching without consent. So if a man comes and beats the living daylights out of his wife because he came home drunk or whatever, you know, and this culture has to stop. You know, this culture has been going on for hundreds of years. You know, my roommate in law school was Russian Jewish. His grandfather was like 95 years old, and he said, you know, in his culture, you beat your wife to prove to her you love her. You have to discipline your wife like she's one of the children. I mean, is that right? Absolutely not. As I said, the slightest touching without consent, you know, is an assault and should be dealt with accordingly. And then the victims need to learn to come forward. They need support groups. I come from Canada, and there are a lot of support groups, you know, that encourage the women, you know, through the court process. They're with them. All right. It does not exist here that I'm aware of, or if it does, it needs to be spread across the country and be known to everyone. Because how many people know about that? All right. How many women know that there is support for them? How many women know that there may be a shelter? In North America, there are shelters for women who have been battered, right? Why does that not exist here? All right. Khalas. Kapisa.
I think, yeah, I
Or
think
more. No more questions.
maybe last question.
Yeah.
For the benefit of those who are there at home, they are not come out and speak there for
Hey,
their.
Manu, spotlight.
Usiondoe kamera,
Just
weka hapo
you
hapo.
put a better light on here.
The question was,
Just don't
okay.
put the light on.
The question was for the benefit of those who are at home, they are suffering for G.B.V and they are fear to shout it out or to say it out. What do I say?
They're victims.
The victims.
And they're afraid to speak out.
They're afraid to speak it out.
Well, again, I'm not aware, or perhaps there are shelters, but not necessarily here on the coast, that women need to be made aware that there is an alternative. They do not need to be subjected continuously for them and their children, if they're earning, to be subject to such abuse. And as I said, the slightest touching without consent, this is an assault one.
Yeah.
Okay? All right. Now imagine I come and slug you. I mean, is that acceptable? Absolutely not. So, women need to be encouraged, they need to be supported, funding needs to be found, either by NGOs or whatever, up and down the coast. Every community should have a women's shelter so that women can seek assistance, that they can be supported through the legal process in prosecuting their husbands. A lot of them are afraid. Beating the shit out of your poor helpless wife. Come on, man.
Okay, for the benefit of the ladies out there, they have heard you speaking about this G.B.V and they need your support. Maybe if you have number to them to share.
I don't know. Again, like I said, if there are such things.
Okay.
This is why I'm supporting this here. I remember last year we also assisted with the Red Card program, which we had, I guess, about a year ago this time. A similar program. Again, okay, against women. So.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
The last question, with your years of experience in practicing law across the world, and also your stay in Kenya, what can you say about let's say the laws, Kenyan laws? You see, every country have laws that govern, like we protect the people, especially in, as we are talking about G.B.V, there has to be laws that protect the women, okay, and also the male. So what can you say about the Kenyan laws? Like, is it enough, or you feel like there's much to be done to?
The laws are there. I mean, Kenya has a common law system, but it goes back to the Bible, the Ten Commandments. Okay, goes back there. Code of Hammurabi. It's been around for thousands of years. Okay, the problem may be the enforcement. Okay, the problem is probably also the victims are afraid to come forth, and what is needed is support groups. Because women say, well, what am I going to do? How am I going to feed my babies? If I take my husband to court, all right, he's not going to support me. My mother is a widow. I have no one else to support me, and that's got to be the issue. Is there the social security net here in Kenya which will support these women? Well, I'm saying women, I'm assuming they're also male victims of gender-based violence. All right. What about them? Who's going to, maybe they're not so fearful of earning an income or living, but it's the women who are, generally dependent upon their spouses. And again, the issue of I'm going to lose my child. My husband's going to take my kids. These are the issues that I would think about and would consider. And I think with organizations and events such as this fashion show, it draws attention to the fact. I really never really thought of it here in Kenya because I just assumed it never existed. No one cared. It's okay to beat your wife. Maybe culturally it is. you know, in some of the many tribes. But it is uncalled for in today's day and age. You know, I don't care, you know, if your grandmother was beaten and your great-grandmother was beaten, because it's okay, and we'll say the Kamba tribe. I don't know, okay? But regardless of traditions, that's got to stop.
Okay, thank you.
All right?
Thank you.